Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to On to the Next One, first show of 2025. And there is no matchmaking, no predicting for matchups following a UFC event. But today, we cast a wider prediction net, if you will. We answer your questions about what 2025 could have in store for the UFC and for the crazy world of mixed martial arts, as this is the 2025 On to the Next One predictions extravaganza. And thank you for joining us live on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel or wherever you find your favorite podcasts if you're listening or watching after the fact. I am Mike Heck, and joining me for one of my favorite shows of the year each year is the co-host, the co-matchmaker, the Prince of Positivity, and my best friend, Mr. Alexander K. Lee, a.k.a. I know it's past the Larry David statute of limitations, but since it's the first time we've seen each other this year, Happy New Year, my best friend. How are you?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. I am good. If I look slightly redder and darker than usual, I'm back from a vacation. I celebrated New Year's with my wife, and still good, in Trinidad and Tobago. So shout out to Vishal and Johnny, my hosts out there, and my dear Antonira. They were amazing hosts. And now I'm back in Canada. And it is freezing and surrounded by snow. But more importantly, I'm back in the MMA world, Mike. Back with you, back with producer Casey, and I couldn't be more excited for this show, especially after we did our recap episode, where I think you and I got like 95% of our predictions right. We were pretty good. I'm joking, obviously, but I think we did all right. I would say 4 out of 5. I think 4 out of 5. We were pretty good with our predictions.
I think collectively it was our best year of doing this.
Yeah,
and there were some weird questions, but we've almost gotten to the point where there is nothing bold. There is nothing that is off the table. Like, everything is possible in this crazy world of ours. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent year. The champ predictions, I was absolutely horrific at. You did much better with the champ predictions than I did last year. And we'll see how the chips fall for 2025, because here is how the show is going to work. If this is the first time you were joining us for one of these predictions extravaganzas, you guys and gals have submitted a slew of buy-sell questions. Some of these are very straightforward. Some of these, which was a big case last year, require a lot of thought. And some are just absolutely insane. But we love them all. And our wonderful producer, the aforementioned E. Casey Leiden, who is fresh back from Japan, he will pull a bunch up. We have no clue which questions he is going to choose. We will run off as many of these as we possibly can. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I didn't know we could submit. I want to ask some questions. You can throw in a super chat. We'll mix in some super chats as well. And then after that, AK and I, we will select who we think will end the year as UFC champions in each weight class. And then to cap it all off, we will each offer a wild, bold prediction for 2025. What is AK going to pick? Is it going to be a Khabib Nurmagomedov comeback prediction? Perhaps. But these bold predictions are probably something that is not going to happen. But again, like I said earlier, you never know, because the sport is absolutely insane. So with that being said, AK, are you ready?
I could not be more ready. And full disclosure, let me tell people, I actually was kind of struggling with my bold prediction, but it came to me before the show, and I think I can build up to it. I think it'll go along with some of the buy-sell questions. I will say, Mike, you were saying you have not given a deep look at these questions, right? I actually did. I needed to kind of prepare myself. Not a super amount of research, because I do want it to be somewhat spontaneous, but also I've been out of the loop for the last week or so just wanted to make sure I had the pulse of sort of the questions happening. But I think some of these buy sells will relate to my prediction, and I can build up to it. But we'll see. You never know how these things go.
All right. With that being said, Casey, what is the first question? Buy or sell, AK, there will be more than one Brazilian champion by the end of 2025. I will at least assume this will be from the UFC specifically. What do you think, AK? Buy or sell more than one Brazilian champion by the end of 2025?
I'm very quickly going back and just looking at our predictions post. You guys, if you want to sort of a greater idea of how we think the UFC championship landscape is going to play out, we do have a article on the site who will be our 11 UFC champions by the end of 2025. Definitely click on that. And it looks like, Mike, because I don't want to change my predictions already. I mean, this is the New Year's. We're only a few days in the New Year. You can't get going back on your resolutions now. I have to say more than. Let me see the question. More than two. More than one. I'm saying no. No, so I have to sell this. I have to sell this, Mike. Just based on what I've already written, I have to sell this. And my prediction is Pantoja, and I guess if people are thinking Alex Pereira, I guess I'm assuming he loses the belt one way or another, whether it's in a fight with Ankalaev or another light heavyweight challenger, just because he defends so much. It's just a law of averages, or if he happens to make that jump up to heavyweight or something and just vacates the title. So then I guess he could win the heavyweight title, but I wouldn't pick him to do that either. So I'm sticking with the sell. Yeah, Pantoja.
I'm buying, and I'm going to leave it at that. There's going to be more than I'm even going to just plant the little seed. It's going to be more than 2 Brazilian champions.
Oh boy!
By the end of 2025. So there you go. We're already against each other. This is awesome. So we're going to start things off on opposite ends of the spectrum. So there you go. Casey, next question.
Bye. 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 We need.
I was not ready for this question.
You know what we need to do? We need to actually start every these buy sells with like actual fictional like money. Like we have like $1,000 in MMA fictional money to spend. So like so we can put weight on like I'm more bought into certain predictions. This was take my whole bankroll. Buy it. The GOAT will return in 2025.
So for those listening on the podcast network, the question is buy or sell Ryan Hall has a UFC fight in 2025. AK could not buy this fast enough. His $1,000 hypothetical bank account would be gone. The show would be over. 2 questions in. Ryan Hall, will he have a UFC fight in 2025? For you, AK, just for you, I'm going to buy this. I'm not confident in this pick at all, but just to put the positive vibes out there. The problem is, AK, and you lay this out all the time, is there a featherweight on this planet who is man enough to sign the dotted line? That's the big question here. Because I'm sure Ryan's been offered a dozen fights, and he's probably signed a dozen contracts. But it takes 2 to tango, AK. And it's not easy to step in with a man like this. Look at Ilia Toporia's career. He was man enough to do it, and now he's a champion. Is anybody else willing to do that?
And notice he's never spoken about fighting Ryan Hall again because he knows he knows he got lucky, and God bless him. You know what? It was his night. I've never heard him mention wanting to fight Ryan Hall again. It's a little suspect to me. I've been told actually, we don't know a lot about UFC contracts. They're very secretive. I've been told there is a clause for any featherweight or lightweight, anyone in his range, that you do not have to accept a fight with Ryan Hall. It's in there. It's in small print, but it's like if you are booked, if we send you a contract to fight Ryan Hall, we understand you have a life and you have a family and you don't want to die, so you are allowed to say no, and we will not hold it against you. We will offer you another fight. This is true. Yeah,
it's a terrific clause that they added.
Yeah, you need it. You need it. Yeah.
I didn't even honestly, I haven't even thought about him in so long. So this is a great question. It popped.
I think about him every day. I think about him every day.
Next question. That's a fun one. Super chat question. Thank you, Steven. Buy or sell, we get women's atomweight. Also, cheers from Spain. I'm spending the New Year's in Europe for 3 weeks. Tomorrow's Rome. Good for you, Steven. So, buy or sell, we get an atomweight division in the UFC, AK.
It's just not this year. I just don't see them doing it in 2025. It will happen someday. It will happen. It might even get announced this year, Mike. Does that count? Should we change this to announce that they're going to introduce an atomweight division?
Yeah, it needs to be like an official announcement. This can't be Dana at a press conference being like, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Yeah, we're going to do it. I know we like to take Dana's word as bond, but that is not always the case. This needs to have like a video package. This needs to be social media posts. This needs to be on UFC.com, UFC News, all of that. Like this needs to be an official announcement that on this date, we are officially introducing the atomweight division. The first atomweight fight will happen in 2026. I'm okay with that.
I think I'm still going to sell. It has to happen, I think, by 2026. I just don't think the announcement happens this year. I think they need Sika Izawa. Obviously, that's a big one. I think she needs to be available to side. I just don't see how you can start an atomweight division without her in the UFC. They have a lot of great fighters coming out. Invicta, of course. A lot of, I'm sure there's a bunch of strawweights who will want to drop down. So it's there. Like it's certainly possible to start a division, tomorrow if they wanted to. But Izal was like the best in the world, at least has that hype behind her. So I think you'd really like to start with that. But hey, listen, they started a featherweight division without Chris Cyborg once upon a time. So I don't know. What do I know, Mike? What do I know? But I'll go sell. It's going to happen within the next couple of years, just not officially in 2025.
I mean, they did the Ultimate Fighter without Joanna or Claudia Gadelha, the two best strawweights in the world. So I'm selling this, though. I think they like the concept of it, but I just don't think of like the top 25 most important things they need to accomplish in 2025. I don't think this is one of them. No disrespect. They have so much going on with the TV deal and all these other things. I don't think it happens. And I think I know GFL, I believe, has signed some atomweights. I think PFL should absolutely do an atomweight season, and they're not going to beat the UFC in anything, but at least you could beat them to the punch on this. At least a little bit of an FU, and somehow it won't like affect the UFC's bottom line at all, because they don't have to do this or anything else. They are just killing it. So I'll say no. I'll sell this.
I hope we're wrong. I hope we're wrong. Great question. I hope we're wrong.
Yeah, me too. Buy or sell, there being 3 or more UFC champs by the end of 2025 with undefeated records. Interesting.
Well, Ryan Hall's coming back, and he's going to win a title, and he's never lost. So that's one.
Is Topuria the only one? Oh no, Umar could be one.
Yes, Umar's on the docket.
But is Topuria the only current UFC champion that's undefeated?
Yes. Oh, the other one in the discussion, obviously, who was also fighting for the title soon, would be Tatiana.
Oh yeah, that's true. And John is. You could say John is undefeated. You could say, oh, it was a BS loss, but it is a loss. It is officially a loss. So we're saying Umar, that the year will end with Topuria, Umar, and Tatiana as champions, and then someone has to come out of nowhere.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
I'm selling this.
I'm going to sell.
I don't think we're going to get all 3. I don't think we're going to get all 3. So I'll say I think we get 1, maybe 2. For all 3 to come true, there's just a lot, especially with Suarez in there, because you just don't know if she's going to fight. So I'm a little pessimistic on that end, so I will sell this.
Oh, thank you, Left Lane in the comments, reminding us also, Mike, Khamzat.
Oh,
and
still selling
and Shavkat.
Oh, Nikes.
Ooh, okay. So go ahead, take a second. Thank you, Left Lane. Thanks for.
Okay, so now I'm buying it. Thank you, Left Lane.
Now you're buying it. So specifically,
I have to buy it now.
You're going Ilya, Shavkat.
I don't want to give away all my. I don't want to give away my champ predictions, but well, I mean, I kind of gave 3 away because it just changed my entire answer. So yes, I will officially buy this.
I'm still gonna sell. I feel like the stars are aligned. That's for sure. That's the fact that we have Umar and Tatiana Suarez already getting their shot. Like we could have 3 undefeated UFC champions by the end of February. Like if the challengers do what they're supposed to do. Man, that's a good question. Smart question. I'm still gonna sell because this is also assuming that these champions, fight or either don't fight and then are just end the year as champion, or they fight again and then win, which is not guaranteed. There's a lot of tough competition out there. I think Movsar could beat Ilya. Like I think Movsar is Movsar also undefeated? No, is he? He is. Okay, so if Movsar beats Ilya, it would satisfy this criteria anyway. I'm still gonna sell, but boy, there's a really strong case that we could see 3 or more undefeated champions this year.
God, it's a great question.
I'm gonna sell. That's really
3 is a perfect number. 3 is a perfect number for this. Well done. All right, next question. 1 buy, 1 sell. Buy or sell. Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal will fight, and the winner will jump right back into another title shot. So we're saying. So this question is, they're gonna fight each other, and then the winner of that fight gets a title shot immediately after. Is that the question?
Oh.
So we're getting the rematch, and then they're basically fighting for a title shot.
This has to be based on that. This has to be
There's
a
no
sell.
way. There's no way. And I know there's just no, it can't happen. I'm selling this. I can't, like, there's a part of me that could try to justify this, trying to put the UFC spin on all of this. There's just no way you can justify this.
It would
There's
be
just no way you can justify it. So no,
yeah.
I'm selling this. There has to be this would be one of the most, this would probably be the most ludicrous title shot in UFC history. Honestly.
I thought for a second I was reading as like they fight. So one of them fights it this year or something, and then gets a. I don't know. Maybe I was giving the question too much flexibility, but because I was thinking like if Jorge like fought Leon Edwards and like knocked him out, like knocked out Leon inside of like the first or second round, then you could be like, okay, Jorge's popular guy, he's gonna get a shot. Colby, I have no idea who he could beat to earn a title shot. So yeah, the way this is phrased has to be a sell. But man, it shows you just how much like how relevant these guys still are somehow, despite their lack of success inside the octagon in recent years. But that's the business.
Let me ask you this, AK. If they book this fight, what would would it be a fight night on the road main event? Is this a main card open? Like, where is this at on a pay-per-view card? Like, if they did it if there's a rumor card in Miami in April, where does this fight fall on that card? Is it a main card fight? Is it the top prelim featured bout co-main event? Like, where would this fall, you think?
Well, it's pay-per-view.
If they did let's just say April, they're doing a pay-per-view in Miami and they booked this fight on there, which honestly makes all the sense in the world if you're going to run this one back to do it there for the official King of Miami or whatever they like to call each other or call themselves. Where does this fight lie? Is this the co-main event? Is this the opener for the main card? Where does this fall?
So let's say this does happen in April, because by then, so again, they've already blown through 4 title fights in the first 2 months, January, February. We've got 4 title fights. I don't know what their plans are for March. I don't know how much they'll be able to stack the Miami card. So I think you will need name value on it. I actually think it goes third last. I think just good, just based on who they are. Yeah, and the Florida ties, it goes at least third last. Maybe co-main again, depends what the card looks like. But it does sound weird to say it. Is there buzz around these two fighting again? Do people want this?
I just don't know where either goes right now. Like, it would make sense. There's so much history here. After they fought, Colby won pretty dominantly. And then the things that happened outside of the cage shortly thereafter. And then we didn't see Colby for an entire year until he stepped on the scale in the UK before the Usman Edwards rematch. And then Masvidal hasn't fought since the Burns fight and then retired, but then said now I'm going to fight again. So it would make sense because Colby's, he got thumped up pretty bad by Buckley and then lost pretty dominantly to Leon. He's nowhere really near a title shot. And Masvidal isn't either. He's coming off of a boxing loss to Nate Diaz. So I don't know. It would just be using their name value to kind of fight each other. It's probably, maybe you do Masvidal Leon, but I think that's probably the biggest fight for both guys currently right now, isn't it? Unless you do a weird one like Masvidal Ferguson or Masvidal Cerrone somewhere. If Donald comes back for real, I don't know.
You can talk me into this fight being made. I probably won't care about it, but hey, both guys getting another big paycheck, good for them. But yeah, just it'd be a very strange scenario to have. I don't think we'd be talking about any title implications if this fight would be booked.
Yeah, sell. Next question. Left lane super chat. Appreciate you. Buy or sell out of Ferguson, Nick Diaz, Masvidal, and Cowboy. More than one will win a fight in 2025.
More than one. That's okay. We have a lot of, sorry guys, my internet's breaking down. We have a lot of will so and so win fight questions, I feel. Mike, is my audio at least okay?
I can hear you. Mine is pretty slow as well, so
you're coming in fine, AK. You're just pixelated.
Okay, just my face. Yeah, my face is, well, it's better that way.
But no one's complaining about that.
No, they never do. They never do. They never do when my camera is malfunctioning for some reason. We're talking MMA fights here, right? We're not talking about if they drift into boxing, bare knuckle boxing, grappling contests. We have to be talking win an MMA fight, right?
MMA fight, yeah.
This is a sell. This is a sell. What are we doing? I can't. More than one? I don't even know if one will. And then again, people are saying Cowboy and Ferguson might rematch or something. So at least then then you're getting one winner, presumably, assuming not a no contest or draw. But more than one, I gotta sell.
I will sell this too. Maybe one. Maybe. Yeah, I'll say one.
Who's the one? Who's the one?
I'll say Masvidal.
Okay. Oh, I'm not making a pick. I was just putting you on the spot.
Because like Masvidal Cowboy like makes sense, and I would pick Masvidal to win that fight. Another Diaz question. Buy or sell? Nate Diaz will have a UFC fight announced for 2025, but it will not actually happen. That is great. I love the caveat to this one, AK. So Nate will have a UFC fight announced for 2025, but it doesn't happen. Buy or sell?
A UFC fight. That's the other thing that makes it good. If you just said fight, I'd say yeah, obviously some sort of fight's gonna be announced, and it's not gonna happen. But a UFC fight, a return to the UFC, we all know it's going to happen. Like it would surprise me if Nate Diaz never fought in the UFC again. Like I do feel like that's where his career has to end. Will one be announced in 2025 and not happen? Mike, I'm going to buy. I'm intrigued. I'm going to buy. Yeah, not my most confident buy for sure, but I feel like we need to lean into the weirdness of it. I think we're being a little conservative with our portfolios so far. I'm adding this to my portfolio, my 2025 portfolio, Mike.
Okay. I am buying this too, AK.
Oh,
I'm going to buy this too, but I'm going to add a little caveat to this as well. They're going to announce sometime this year that the main event for UFC 322 or wherever it is at Madison Square Garden in November, the main event will be Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3. And then the fight won't happen. And I don't even think it's going to be Nate's fault. I think something will happen with Conor, and then the fight doesn't happen. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying he will be announced for a fight. He won't fight, but it won't be his fault. I'll say that.
Now we're getting Mike. We're not even at bold prediction time yet. You're already getting in there.
My bold prediction's a little weird. Damn. It's a little out there. Out there.
Diaz,
but yeah,
okay.
Let's buy it. Why the hell not? Because it would make all the sense in the world for those two to not want to fight each other, to save it till like they're both not in the UFC anymore and just make all the monies off of it. But the UFC is just going to not let that happen. So at that point, you might as well just do it. But then it still won't happen. So maybe there's a chance it happens outside. So I'll buy this. This is fun.
Yeah, I feel good about it now. Now that we talked our way through it, I feel good about it.
Good question. Next one. Buy or sell? Alex Pereira gets at least 2 more boops by the end of 2025.
I have to sell. I think I have to sell because I think I'm not predicting him to win 2 fights in 2025. So I could I'm an Ankalaev truther, right? I think Mike, you mentioned at the beginning that I did well with my championship predictions. I think it's because I just pick the same names every year. I think I swap out 1 or 2 names, and it's just hope for the best. So Ankalaev, yeah, I'm still riding that train. I still think he can be the champion, and I also think if Pereira goes up to heavyweight, again, I don't pick him to boop Aspinall or Pereira Jon Jones or whoever it is he fights up there. So I have to sell. I don't think he's getting 2 knockouts this year. What a crappy thing for me to say. I'm sorry, guys. I suck. What a terrible. I can't. I'm telling you that you won't see 2 cool Pereira knockouts. But yeah, I think we were spoiled in 2024 anyway. So hopefully they'll keep you guys warm until 2026.
I'm gonna sell this too because I think he's gonna go to heavyweight his next fight. I think he's either gonna fight John or he's gonna fight Aspinall next. And I don't think he wins either of those fights, but I don't think it's a situation where he should have to vacate if this happens. I would be full on board saying he should vacate the belt if he's given this opportunity to try to win the heavyweight title or any kind of heavyweight title. Because if he fights Aspinall wins, he's going to fight Jon, and that's a huge deal. So maybe he doesn't even defend the light heavyweight title at all this year. But I don't like his chances going up to heavyweight and beating either of those two guys. And then at that point, he fights once at 205, and I think he wins that fight. Whoever it is, whether it's Ankalaev or some other contender, Carlos Oberg or whoever. So I'll sell this. I think we. There you go. Next question. Buy or sell. Francis Ngannou has 2 PFL fights in 2025. I'm just going to go out on a limb here, AK. Sell the shit out of this one. No freaking chance he fights twice in the PFL in 2025. So I will sell all of this.
What if he fights once for PFL and once for Bellator? Does that count?
Is there a Bellator? I don't think so.
I mean, their lightweight champion is about to defend his title soon. I have people.
Yeah, but on a PFL card.
About,
the PFL Champion Series headlined by Bellator champion Usman Nurmagomedov.
Sure. This feels like a sell. This feels like a sell. I don't know if Francis, at least in MMA, ever fights more than once in a year again. Now, Mike, what if he fights in a boxing match under the PFL banner and also fights in MMA? Would you consider that likely at all? I don't know. PFL boxing.
Oh, come on. You want them to start a boxing promotion with all the shit they can't already handle?
Imagine Don Davis. I beat you, Dana. I beat you. I did it first.
God, dude.
I did it first.
Oh, my God. Yeah, sell this.
I think he boxes.
Yeah, I think he boxes first. And then he fights like in October again. It's going to be like an October tradition. He just fights in October in Saudi Arabia. So, he doesn't have 2 PFL
Not
fights.
2 league. Okay, not 2 league fights. Yeah, I got to sell.
No.
Got to sell.
God, no. Buy or sell. 2 or more champs moving up or down a weight class to challenge for a second title. Okay, so we're asking for 2 or more individual champions fighting for a champ, doing a champ fight. What do you think, AK?
I really hope not. I know we had so much of that talk in 2024. I'm not curious. As much as I love the Volkanovski, like Makhachev fight, the first one, we got to keep these things special, It's just, I don't know. And there's just so many guys who haven't cleared out their divisions. Pineda's like the only weird one because, again, he fights light heavyweight. I mean, these divisions are shallow anyway. I wouldn't care if he changes divisions and jumps up and goes for a champ status. Like, great, go for it. But when you're talking about light welterweight down to like flyweight, like it's just so stupid. So I'm going to definitely say sell. I know Ilya says he wants to make the jump, so maybe he's the one. Islam wants to too, but I just don't see them both doing it the same year. Since those stories are intertwined. So, yeah, I'll go sell. Be confidently selling this one.
I will. So I just need 2. I already have 1. Mm-hmm. I think Pereira is going to do it. So I just need 1 more to do it. Because it could be Zhang. Maybe Zhang moves up and fights it for the flyweight belt. I'm buying. I'm going to buy this. I think because we didn't have any this year in 2024, right?
No. Does this count if Zhang loses the title to Tatiana and then moves up to flyweight? No, she has to. This is a champ having to go up and win another title. 2 or more champs. Yes. So they have to be a champ. Okay. Yep. Okay.
I will buy this because I could see Islam doing it. Bilal has to lose because he's not going to fight Bilal. And Bilal, if he fights Shavkat, it's a way more interesting fight than I thought it was going to be. But I would probably still pick Shavkat in that one if that's the next one. Maybe Pants tries? I don't know. Because he's legit, like, outside of I mean, he's already fought like Pants has already fought like everybody already, except for Kai. Did he fight? He hasn't fought Kai Kara-France yet, right?
They didn't fight before he was champion.
They fought on TUF in an exhibition.
Oh, thank you, Casey. I just wrote about that recently too. Thank you, Casey. That's right. Correct.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I'm still gonna buy it. Why not? The UFC. It's a TV contract year. I could see them doing a lot of weird shit this year.
Right.
So, yeah, right. I'll buy this.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Pantoja. Yeah, we still gotta see that cop fight. But you're right. After that, yeah, second half of the year. I don't know if he wins. Okay, we'll see. I'm selling.
All right. AK still selling. All right. Next one. Buy or sell? I mean, the amount of Khamzat questions that we have gotten for this and other shows is unbelievable. Buy or sell? Khamzat Chimaev competes for a belt in a weight class that is not 185 pounds. AK.
This might do with the last question too. He might let's say he runs through Dricus, which I don't think he necessarily will. But let's say he runs through Dricus and then says, "Screw it, I'm going up for another title fight right away." And again, it's light heavyweight. There's it's not hard to jump to the front of that line. I'm definitely selling, but this might be just me saying like I hope this doesn't happen. Like I hope he just wins it and defends the middleweight title at least a couple of times before even talking about changing weight classes. But I mean, the guy's been talking about fighting in 3 divisions for a year, but he hasn't even won a title, and he's been talking about fighting in 3 divisions. So I will sell, but it's very, very, very possible.
I have to sell this because this is the first year I actually thought about not making Khamzat a champion in his actual division, because not only has he not won a belt, he has never fought for a belt. Out of all these years, since 2020, we're like, this guy's going to fight for a belt this year. Go back to every champ predictions thing we have done for MMA fighting since then, and we have put Khamzat in the mix at least in 1 division every single time, sometimes 2 divisions, sometimes 2, and yet he has never fought for an actual belt for a UFC title. So before I could ever buy this, I need to see him actually compete for a title. I need to see Dana White actually announce that Khamzat is fighting for a belt, because we haven't even gotten that far yet. So until I see that, I can't buy this. So I will sell this.
Very sensible reasoning, my best friend. I think you're right.
Can't wait. The show will end 5 minutes later, and Dana will announce that Khamzat's fighting like Alex Pereira or something for the lightweight title in March.
Oh man.
Next question. Shout out to John, super chat. Buy or sell? RDR will be a top 10 ranked 185er by the end of 2025.
That's good.
I'm selling this.
You're selling it. Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
obviously we're talking about UFC rankings, not the MMA Fighting Global rankings.
I'll sell both.
I'll sell both. I mean, he doesn't have his next. Does he have his next fight booked already?
Yeah, he's fighting Kevin Holland.
He's fighting Kevin Holland. Okay, that doesn't get you ranked.
Very soon.
Very soon. So here's the bottom half of the UFC's top 15 right now: Michel Pereira, Shara Bullet, Fluffy Hernandez, Jack Hermanson, and Paulo Costa. So that's 15 to 11. I mean, it's in a really good division right now, but can he has a name. I feel like they believe in him, as they're invested in him somewhat. Like, could he get a fight against like a Roman Dolidze, Brendan Allen? Top 10, right? Top 10?
He has to be in the top 10.
Top 10. I will say, I will sell. It's a hesitant sell, though, because I think he could be in the top 10 someday, just maybe not by the end of this year. So I will. You know what? No, you know what? You know what, Mike? That's such a weak prediction for me, because I've already said that a bunch of times. Like, it's going to happen eventually, just not 2025. You know what? This one will happen in 2025. This one will happen. He will get a big like fight night or something, main event before the end of the year. He'll catch someone coming down the middleweight rankings. Like, I think someone from the top 10 will sort of be coming down, and then he'll catch that person and take like the 9 or 10 spot. Yes. You know what, John Shin? RDR top 10 2025.
I'm still going to sell. He is the middleweight champion for life. No one will ever take this title from him. I don't care if he loses the next 7 fights. He will still be the middleweight champ. He's the Demetrius Johnson of middleweights, especially after watching the Gerald Mearshart fight. I don't even care about his ranking. I just want him to fight everybody, because he's just so fun to watch and kind of funny to watch at times because of just his style. It's hilarious. But like, I just don't see like he ain't beating Anthony Hernandez in a fight. It's just not happening. He's just gonna get dusted. It just can't happen. Him and Pereira would be incredibly fun. I would love to see that fight. That is a tremendous Apex main event for like May. Just do those two in the Apex for 5 rounds. I just don't think he's going to get enough. I don't know if he's just going to get the matchups for it. So I think he will be ranked. I just don't think he's going to be top 10. So no. What else
What have we got? Yeah, what have we got here? These are good ones.
Lazy Bed. Buy or sell PFL seasons no longer occur in 2025.
Ooh. I hadn't thought about that.
I'm going to buy this. I have no insight to this whatsoever. But Don Davis has been teasing big announcements, big changes. This 2025 year is going to be unlike any other. I think the writing has been on the wall for a while that the season is dumb, that it makes no sense. Like, I get the concept and you're trying to be different, but you can't do... Jed's been saying it for years, and he's spot on with this. You can't do it an actual regular season in 2 fights. You can. It's just silly. And then just kind of like dotting the I's and crossing the T's from the town hall, and Don saying, we've talked about just doing these different things where like a fighter can do a call out, or we do some sort of round where the fighter who is like the higher seed gets to call out his or her next opponent. In the season format, like, it would be fun, but it doesn't really make that much sense. So perhaps they're going to a Grand Prix model, which if you're going to take anything from the Bellator brand, I think the Grand Prix model makes way more sense and is way more digestible to the fan than the season format with the points and the bullshit and the weird matchmaking where you can actually set it up however you want. Like, it worked out great for Dakota Ditcheva because she's just she's tremendously talented and she's just very good. But it was clearly obvious what they tried to do with her. Like, poor Liz Carmouche is the freaking champion of Bellator, and she's one of the 7 best flyweights on planet Earth. Yet she had the toughest matchups out of everybody, and Dakota got to fight the worst fighters in the, no disrespect, but the lowest ranked fighters back to back to make it not only to the playoffs, but to get the top seed so they can matchmake for her the way they wanted to. And again, it worked out great because she beat the shit out of Tyler Santos in the finale. But doing the Grand Prix, I think, is way more digestible. And I think PFL, this is going to be a very crucial year for them where they have to just kind of put their feet in the sand and be like, this is who we are. This is how we're viewed. We are the Grand Prix promotion. We are this promotion. We are that. We have an identity now. So I think they're going to go to that route and sign some interesting fighters. So I'm going to buy this, but mostly because it makes sense, and 2, for positive juju. So I'll buy it.
You talked me into it. I'm going to buy it, Mike. I'm going to buy it. I was hesitant. I was hesitant because I still love the idea of a league or promotion doing something different. And but yeah, every criticism that's been levied against it is spot on from Jed, from everyone else. Like, it's just not enough time unless you're going to go again January to December every year. So start your events in January, start your events in February, and try and get a 3-fight regular season, which would still be really hard to do. Again, there's just like health permitting and scheduling, all so much stuff that can go wrong. But at least, unless you're going to at least try that, the whole 2 fights regular season format just didn't work. It was always hilarious when they show like here's where fighters stand at the halfway mark. Like, they show a graphic, and I'm like, yeah, you mean after one. Just say after 1 fight. It's not a halfway. Literally, it is a halfway mark, so not incorrect, but it just sounds so silly. So unless they're going to change to a January to December model, which again, it's already too late. We know they don't have any events scheduled for the next couple of months. It's not feasible. So I would love to see it continue in some form. I see a lot of people saying you still do some sort of Grand Prix tournament thing at the end, which, yeah, I agree. I think that's the way to go. Tournaments are cool. Grand Prix are cool. But it is disappointing that they just weren't able to quite get that amount of of time they needed to make a season work. And before people, and the silly thing is, I don't know if like they wanted to, like they were so adherent to making it like other sports leagues. I think they felt like, oh, well, you know, January to March is our off season. And it's like, there's no off season in MMA. Like that's the whole point. One thing I think fans love about it is there's no off season. Like, and even if you want to point to other professional leagues, like if you just look at like football, soccer, excuse me, I'm being pretentious. If you look at soccer, like around the world, yes, they have an off season, but essentially the players are playing so because they have all these tournaments, they have all these cups and things, so they're playing almost year round, and then international tournaments. That's what PFL should have been aiming for, to just say we're like a regular league, and but there's just no off season. You could have made that part of your your campaign. I don't know. So I have
doing an event in January.
I know.
They have one on the books.
What event? Oh yes, I just said it. The one with what's it called?
Usman and Paul Hughes.
Usman and Paul Hughes, yeah. But I mean, again, and that if they were going to do that, I wish that's like say the regular season starts in January. Like I wish that's what they would have done. But I think you're spot on. I think we got it. We got to buy this one. We got to buy this one. Seasons are over. It was an okay run. It was an okay run.
Yes.
I don't even mean about it, but
I mean, it was
fine.
It was a nice thing. You tried it. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
that's it.
It was fun.
Buy or sell. The fighter of the year will be someone ranked outside the top 3 of their division as of January 1st, 2025. I'm going to go first.
Yeah,
let
please.
me just look real quick. We're talking about UFC rankings. I have to sell this because you already know who my fighter of the year is going to be. It is the man who's currently ranked number 1 in our hearts and number 1 in the UFC lightweight rankings. His name is soon to be and new UFC lightweight champion of the world, Arman Tsarukyan. So I have to sell this.
When we say outside of the top 3, where we mean, so the way the UFC does it, of course, is the champion is just like champion, not number 1. The champion is champion, and then the next 1 to 3 are the 1 to 3 contenders. So we're talking about outside of the 1 to 3 contenders, right? Not champion 1 and 2.
I think we should add champion to this.
Oh, okay. Well, you still
champion plus the top 3.
Yeah, you still can't pick Arman, like I said. He's essentially number 2, the number 2 lightweight in the world right now.
Yeah.
So outside, I mean, that makes things easier. So technically, that would include Khamzat then, if we're going by that criteria. Khamzat is the 3rd ranked contender by the UFC. Do I think he has enough juice to be the fighter of the year? I kind of want to say yes. So that's an option. What else we got here? I'm just looking at these names here.
I mean, there are some interesting ones. There are some interesting names. So are we saying champion 1 and 2, or are we saying champion plus 1, 2, 3?
We're saying champion 1 and 2 right now, but I don't know how people want to interpret it. So we'll say champion. Well, like, because by our rankings, again, we just put we don't care who the champion is necessarily. Just most of the number ones happen to be UFC champions. Excuse me. We just go straight 1, 2, 3. We don't designate between title holder and contenders, but UFC does. UFC has champions separately, and then the contenders listed next. So I'm going to say champion 1 and 2. So does that change things for you, Mike? Does that change things for you?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Although one of my divisional champion picks is pretty wild, and if this happens, he's going to have a terrific case for being fighter of the year, and he's currently number 3 in his division. So, but I'm still gonna sell this, and this is all. I didn't have that. It was a year too early pushing all my Arman Tsarukyan chips in the middle. But now I have to redo it. I bought back in, and I'm going blind, all in firsthand.
I want to pick Khamzat so bad. I just don't have confidence he fights more than once a year. And again, if he does, that's the thing is, if he does, then he'll absolutely and wins. Assuming he wins 2 fights. Let's say he wins 2. Let's say he wins his middleweight championship, defends it once. I mean, he'll definitely be in talks for fight of the year. I just don't know if he fights more than once a year. Optimist pick. I'll buy. Khamzat,
okay,
that's my guy. Yeah,
I love
Khamzat. The number 3 contender in the UFC rankings, but technically outside of the top 3, counting the champions. So let's do it. Let's buy.
Quick question, gentlemen. In the last, say, 4 or 5 years, has any fighter of the year met this criteria?
Ooh,
Sean Strickland.
There you go. Nice, easy. Yeah, easy pick. Damn, that was crazy. I was going back and looking at some of our like previous fights. I was like, man, we really did it. Like we really pulled the trigger on Sean Strickland. What a crazy year that was.
Alex Pereira must have been too, right? The year he won the middleweight title.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
He was definitely he might not have been ranked because he was coming off the Michaelitis debut win.
Oh yeah, true.
And then won the belt in November the following year against Izzy.
Damn, so I'm definitely buying because if it's not Khamzat, it could be some other friggin'. Maybe it'll it could be Reiner de Ritter. We don't know, Mike. It could be. It's so unpredictable. It's so unpredictable.
I love that question.
So the last 4 years, 2 of them, 50%, have fit this criteria. Just
pretty good. Pretty good.
It's not bad. These are terrific questions. Buy or sell. Jack Della and Shavkat will have more octagon appearances than Greg Hardy will have knockout losses in 2025. Holy shit. What a question. Oh my God.
More just appearances.
So we're talking JDM and Shavkat's UFC fights combined. Is that number higher than the amount of knockout losses Greg Hardy will have in 2025?
I'm so confused. Okay, so how much has Greg Hardy been boxing? I know he had that ridiculous not getting knocked out not too long ago. Has he boxing that often? Like honestly, I'm pretty out of the loop. Other than that one highlight I saw, when it comes to his box.
No.
And what was that? Bare knuckle or something? Was that boxing or was that bare knuckle or what was it?
That was boxing.
That was straight up boxing.
So I think he's in the boxing, like there's like a team boxing league, and I think he's a part of that. And he got nuked a couple of times in that.
Okay, so I'm to understand
they always come up, so we'll know.
Yeah, it hasn't been going great for Greg Hardy on the boxing scene. If I'm to understand.
Yeah, he also signed with GFL.
Oh God!
So he's probably gonna have an MMA fight at some point. He was at least, from what I understand, he was supposed to fight for Game Bread last year, and then it didn't happen. So, God, I don't know, man. It's a great question. I'll say Shavkat fights twice. So if both these guys fight twice, that's 4. And for me to sell this, we need Greg Hardy to get knocked out at least 4 times.
No, 5 times. Oh no. Oh, they'll have more.
It just needs to be more.
Oh.
I will, man, because I just don't know when these guys are going to fight. I'll sell it. I think they'll fight at least 3 times combined, and I don't know if Greg's going to fight 3 times.
I'm going to. We'll have more. You're selling, so you're saying Greg Hardy will get knocked. Well, you're saying Greg Hardy will get knocked out more times than you'll see Jack and Shavkat.
Oh no. Okay, so I'll buy this. I'll buy it. Sorry.
Yes, I'm going to buy 2, and if only because, like, and listen, I have no love for Greg Hardy. You guys all know I think the guy is trash. I think he's human trash. I really do. I think he's a terrible person. I hate that he's still involved in combat sports. I just think he's bad guy. But that said, I don't wish for anyone to repeatedly have their brains bashed in. I don't care what their past is. I mean, there might be some exceptions, but either way, I don't care what their past is. I don't believe that's like. I don't revel in that. I don't revel in someone who I don't like, who I think is a bad person, getting like pummeled repeatedly and getting brain damage. I think it's just horrible. So for his sake, I will say I will buy. I will buy, and that we'll see more Della Maddalena and Shavkat. Because if not, it's gonna be a rough year for Greg Hardy. If we're doing like 3 or 4 posts this year of Greg Hardy just getting hammered, I mean, I know a lot of people will love it, but that's a rough way to make a living. That's bad.
Yeah. Okay. I love these questions. Oh, buy or sell. Kayla Harrison either misses weight or loses a fight this year. So one or the other.
I don't think she's missing weight.
This is interesting.
I don't think she's missing
Well,
weight.
if she fights for the belt, she has to get to 135. She's not gotten to 135 yet. That extra pound is a pain in the ass.
I think she hasn't had to. I think it's very much she just hasn't had to. And so she hasn't bothered. I think she hasn't felt like to make that statement. Like, see, it's like, no, it's really hard. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Excuse me.
I love how this is worded, though. It's one of these two things happens.
I don't think she misses weight. Does she lose this year? All right. I know everyone is expecting her. You're buying. You think she's gonna miss weight? You think she's gonna miss weight?
No.
Or you think she's gonna Juliana Pena? Respect for the champ.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Okay, I don't want to step on your prediction, but okay, we could have people changing weight classes.
It would not surprise me if look, if this is like a 3-round normal fight, just a regular like UFC pay-per-view 3-round matchup, I would pick Kayla pretty comfortably over Juliana. But her having to make 135 and fighting Juliana for 5 rounds, that makes that fight way more interesting to me. Plus, but that's not why I'm buying this. And as you'll find out later in the program.
Okay. I'm going to sell. This is Kayla's year. I'm going to sell.
Okay.
No hiccups.
Next question. Oh, I was waiting for something like this. Buy or sell, a current Bellator fighter fights for a title in the UFC in 2025. So someone that is on the Bellator roster, I would assume we're talking champ here. So maybe Pitbull, maybe Patchy Mix, maybe Johnny Eblin. Who knows, AK? Maybe your pick from last year of the Bellator defector. Maybe it is Ryan Bader's year to come back to the UFC. If you remember the 24th show, Ryan Bader. Out of all the guys, you chose him. So, okay. What are we going here, AK? Buy or sell, Ryan Bader fights for a UFC title in 2025.
I buy that exact scenario. I'm gonna buy here, and I hate that I feel like I'm being very influenced by Kai Asakura just coming in and getting a title shot, right? Like, because that was a cool piece of booking and it made sense at the time, and it was also like still somewhat surprising because we're like, wow, I it's so rare for the UFC just take an established guy from another promotion and just throw them right into a title shot. But maybe that's where we are now. Maybe that's something that when it happened, we say it's rare, and then 5 years from now we look back at, oh, that was the start of the UFC sort of being very creative with their booking and just snatching talent from other promotions and throwing them right into title shots if it made sense. And yeah, you can have someone like Johnny Eblin come in and fight right away. Patricio Pitbull, I know he's a bit up there in age. I know they'd want to see him earn it, but he has a name, man. He has a name, and just what a cool story that would be to have him fight for the UFC title. So this is, I'm gonna buy. I don't know if they win. I don't know if I pick any of these guys to win the UFC title in 2025, but to get a fight, man, it's January. It's a long year. And that last 6 months of the year, I'm telling you, I think we're gonna see a lot of things we didn't think we'd ever see, and that could include a Bellator fighter just stepping right in and challenging for the title.
Would Aaron Pico count if he's currently a free agent? But even though PFL is matching rights.
Wait, what do you mean? What would he count? Like if they
so
didn't
Aaron Pico's manager did an interview with MMA junkie Ali Abdulaziz and said that Aaron Pico is a free agent right now.
Yep.
But PFL has matching rights. So if the UFC were to offer him a deal right now, PFL could match their offer to retain his services. But Don Davis has come out and said they've already offered him like a title fight and a very lucrative contract. But if he's a free agent, is he considered a Bellator fighter right now?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, for the purpose of this question, absolutely. Like he technically might not be a Bellator fighter as we speak, but I think if you ask people, he is considered a Bellator fighter. So yeah, Pico. So is that enough for you to buy?
I'm just curious. No, it doesn't really change anything for me. I am just curious. I have to sell this.
Ooh.
I have to sell it. Pat, they ain't gonna let. If I'm PFL, like I know, like the right thing to do, I guess, quote unquote, is to book them or release them. But I think they're gonna book them all. Like I truly think they're gonna book all of them. And it wouldn't shock me if they've already offered fights to Patchy Mix and Patricio Pitbull at this point. And maybe Patricio is just he's just done with all of this. But even so, let's just say like this back and forth on social media goes on for 6 months and Patricio is gone, say like June or July. He ain't fighting Ilia Topuria. Like, he ain't jumping to a title shot at 45 or 55 right away. He's going to have to earn his freaking stripes. And those stripes are not going to be earned easily because he's going to have to fight Movsar Evloev or Aljamain Sterling or somebody of that ilk in order to get there. And I don't know how confident I would be picking him against a lot of these guys. And then Patchy would be really interesting, but I think they're going to try to keep him. I sell this because I think they will all still compete for PFL in 2025. They're not going to release any of them. And if they do, there won't be enough time for them to come into a title shot. Because even if it is Patchy, he ain't getting a title fight. They're not throwing him in for the belt. They're going to make him fight somebody else. They're going to make him earn it. He's going to have to get at least one win, maybe two. Same with Patricio at this point. Because they have terrific lineages, terrific runs with Bellator, champions, all of that. But UFC fans, for the most part, especially this newer, broader audience that the UFC has attracted with this wide net and using social media influencers to bring on more fans, they have no fucking idea who either of these guys are. They have no clue. None. So I will sell this. No UFC title shots for a Bellator fighter.
I'm going to buy. Ryan Bader it is.
Next, Ryan Bader versus Jon Jones, 2 AK for the heavyweight title.
Finally, and then Parker Porter.
Yeah, he's got Parker's book. Did you see that?
I did. Exciting stuff.
That leads to the next question. PFL releases at least one current Bellator champion.
Yeah,
straight release, AK.
I gotta buy. I gotta buy. Yep, I gotta buy. I'm going with something crazy happening. One of these guys getting free and getting a title shot.
God, maybe it's Ryan Bader. Maybe it is, in fact, Ryan Bader. But, man. Okay, so this question's different than the other one. Because this is different than the other one. Okay.
They can go anywhere. This doesn't mean go to the UFC. This just means release. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to buy this. This I'm going to buy. I could see them releasing a Corey Anderson or something like that. I could see them doing that. He's had a lot of shit to say. And good fighter. But like, even if they did, the UFC's not bringing Corey Anderson back. So, yeah, I think they will. I think they'll release one of these current champions.
Corey becomes the new face of the GFL.
Could be. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is Bader. Maybe it's... Who the hell knows? I don't think it's going to be Eblin, Patricio, or Patchy. Maybe Patricio.
Wait, why do we keep saying Bader's not? He's not actually a champion right now, is he? Why do we keep saying Bader?
He is. He's the Bellator heavyweight champion.
He's the belt. Stop it.
He is.
He's holding the Bellator heavyweight title.
He's the Bellator heavyweight champion. He fought Henry Pereira, but it wasn't for the Bellator belt. It was just for the crown, to sit on the big throne and win a super fights title.
It's been 2 years since the Fedor fight. Or almost. I'm sorry. What?
He's still the champion. Yes. He's still a champ.
What a promotion.
What's the best?
What a promotion. That is wild. I did not realize that.
It's crazy. Next question. That's so funny. Maybe we should have more Ryan Bader questions. Will he fight in 2020?
We've talked way too much about Ryan Bader than I thought we would.
All right, next. All right, I like this one. Buy or sell. The aforementioned GFL hosts at least 3 events in 2025.
Hold on.
So this is holding.
Do birthday parties count? I mean, are these fighting events, or do they just have to be like, oh, we had a birthday, we rented out a Chuck E. Cheese for Tanya Effinger or something, and we had a party. That's an event. That counts as an event. We put the GFL banner on there. GFL sponsored birthday party.
We're bringing Andy Elliott out to motivate the troops.
Goodness me. Yeah, these have to be fighting events.
Does that change your prediction though?
Yeah. I think GFL's be doing a lot of events. I think they'll be showing a lot of face in 2025. But I mean, actual fighting events. Come on.
So you're selling.
I I'm still not sure they do one. I'm not sure they do one in 22. I just don't know. I have to sell this. I don't even know if they do one. I have to sell.
Yeah, I gotta sell too. I just, where are they getting this money?
What
Seriously.
are they doing? How many people are on their roster right now? Like,
I think there's like 60 or 70, but they're all like big names, and apparently, just based on some of them, they're all getting paid like. And I've talked to like a couple fighters who were just like, yeah, they threw this like ridiculous amount of money at me, like I couldn't say no. So, but I just don't know where they're getting this, and they don't have, as of right now, from what I understand, and I could be wrong about this, they don't have a TV deal in place yet. I mean, maybe they just did something over the last like 48 hours, but as of like a week and a half ago, just kind of talking to people, it didn't seem like they have any television. So you're spending all this money without any distribution deal where you're generating income on that end. How are you going to make money in order to host this event? Like, I just don't understand where you just have unlimited funds to do this, So maybe they do one event, maybe two. I feel like the first event is just going to cost them so much and they don't really understand it. And will it generate enough buzz where like TV, like distribution entities are going to just throw them a bunch of money? You know what I mean? Like, say what you will about Mike Perry and the dirty boxing thing. Like, them not airing that first event was actually fucking brilliant on their part. Because now there's like, all you saw was like little clips of things, and you saw like how they laid it out and the production elements of this just dark, dingy sort of airline garage with like 100 people in it, like dimly lit in this ring. Like, everything about it rocked. And to me, it was just like, I want to go to the next one as long as it's in the same place as the first one. Like, it just seemed like a cool place to be. And they did it so perfectly without distribution or anything like that. Like, they were able to pull that off, and it probably didn't cost them like a whole hell of a lot of money. GFL is already spending, I mean, millions and millions, and they haven't done anything yet. So I think we get the inaugural event, but the team concept and all of it, like, how are you going to fulfill all this? I just don't see it happening. I hope I'm wrong. I really, truly hope I'm wrong.
Yes.
I just have been around this space long enough that we've seen players like this come and go very quickly.
Mike, I hope that GFL, they do like the Dana White Fight Island video where they collect all the journalist quotes and the media member quotes and like compile this video to make us look like fools. I hope that happens. I hope by the end of 2026 that GFL has this a 3-minute video saying how dumb the media was. GFL is now the co-leader in MMA, and we look like fools. I really hope that happens, because yes, the more the merrier. The more promotions out there, better for the fighters, better for the fans, better for the business. So I hope we're wrong. It's just hard for us. We just see so much of the writing on the wall, and I don't think we're being cynical. I think everyone has these same questions. So hopefully they have answers that just have not become apparent yet. I was still reading things while I was on vacation, Mike, and you wrote up the signing of Paige Van Zandt, or she announced that she was signed on her podcast. And like, I don't know why the quote just jumped out at me. She just said, they're picking up anybody and everybody who has a name in this sport that's a free agent. They offered me a contract, and I said yes. Like, it was just such a weirdly mechanical way of just saying, like, what a thrilling free agent chase that clearly was. Like, they're reaching out to anyone. This is what Paige Van Zandt saying. They're reaching out to anyone. Here's a contract, and they're just like, yep, okay. There doesn't seem to be any thought or strategy other than the obvious strategy of trying to get as much name value as possible. It's frustrating to watch. It's confusing, and if they pull this off, God bless them. We are keeping our eye on that space. That's for sure. If there's one thing we are talking about GFL, we are talking about it a lot. So let's just see them just pull off one event. One event in 2025 would be great. I am selling this, but one event, one fighting event, last quarter of the year. That's it. That's all I ask for.
So I'm hearing April is like kind of earmarked for the first event. But I don't know how they do this. I don't know how they pull this off. The thing that really like made me shake my head a little bit was the Cain Velasquez thing. Cain Velasquez is on as a team manager, which is cool. Like, good on you, bro. The dude might be going to jail forever, like in 2 weeks. His sentencing is coming up January 24th for this whole situation. It just seems like a weird press release when like when this thing hasn't even happened yet. So I don't know. It's so odd and strange. The roster is super weird. Like Vanderlei Silva should not be fighting for anybody, especially after you look at some of the things he said when it came to the antitrust lawsuit and all that. Like, what are we doing here? And if how are you going to matchmake here? Like when you draft these fighters, are we drafting like a legends fighter to fight other legends? If that's the case, I don't love it, but at least I feel better about it. I could sleep better at night. But if we're doing like Frank Mir against 28-year-old, the next Tom Aspinall, then fuck that. I don't want to watch that. I have no interest in that whatsoever. I do not want to see a 44-year-old man who was once a UFC champion just get run over by 4 evolutions better of an MMA fighter. That scares the shit out of me. So that I am not interested in. But if we somehow can make it work where like they all fight each other and there's still like a decent mix of other things happening, maybe they have something. But I gotta, 3 events. Like their first event could just put them under completely. They could sell like 0 tickets and have nobody watch it. Like, it's very possible. So we'll see.
Go GFL.
We want you to do good. Buy or sell, an unranked fighter will be on the main card of a UFC pay-per-view event. What? That's a question? I'll buy this 100,000 times.
Yeah, I thought this question before.
Is Kevin Holland ranked right now?
By that.
A pay-per-view main event.
I feel like this is already.
Wait, what?
But they didn't say
no, it says it'll be on the main card of a pay-per-view.
Oh, main card. You're right.
Oh, it just says main card.
I assume they mean main event. Let's change it. I assume they meant main event.
I would.
Like
I would hope so because this is a regular occurrence. We have unranked. Okay. That yes. Will an unranked fighter be in the main? Oh yes, absolutely they will. Because again, I have to go with this because Ryan Bader or Johnny Upland or whatever is going to be main eventing one of these pay-per-views. So, So let's change it to say pay-per-view main event unranked fighter. I did say but again, I could see one of those Bellator guys coming over and getting a title fight and it being the co-main event, not necessarily being the main. But also, gosh, things change so quickly, and become fights fall through, and then you just need to throw someone in the main event. Like who knew Alexander Pantoja and Steve Erceg would have main evented a pay-per-view in 2024, and we got that right. So, I'll buy. I don't have an exact scenario in mind. Again, it's probably going along with my Bellator thing. But if we're talking main event of a pay-per-view. Yeah, this is going to be a weird year. 2024 was weird. It's just how these 2023 was super weird. So it's just how these things go. We're in this era, and I will buy.
I will also buy this. One, because Conor McGregor is not ranked right now. And if he fights, he's going to be the main event.
Wow, good one. Yeah.
And 2, I'm not even buying it because of Conor. But that's like a nice little chip to have to play with. But the reason I'm buying this will be revealed when we do the champ predictions. Next question. This is like my favorite question.
I saw
this is like my favorite question. Buy or sell that Celtics legend and champion and soon to be back-to-back champion Jason Tatum ends the NBA season with more 40-plus point games than UFC 311 will have total knockouts in the entire card.
I mean, we got to do a little research here. Hold on. Did you prep for this?
So I saw this question and I looked at it.
All right. How many 40 point? How many? I was going to ask. How many do you think he has so far?
I think he's 2.
He has one.
So
I'm just looking at this right now. He had a 43-point game against in a monster blowout of the Chicago Bulls, just not too long ago, just past December. So he's at one.
He's got
UFC,
one.
He's got one. A lot of games left to play. We're how many games are in the season? Like 30 something. Okay, so 30 something. So this is like 50 games left. And UFC 311 has what 14 fights.
So
14 fights.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Are you counting knockouts right now?
I'll say I don't know if I think there'll be at least 4 knockouts at 311, and I don't know if Tatum drops 4 40+ point games this year.
The problem is
I will sell this.
So a major problem is the Celtics are so good that like there's a lot of games where I feel like they're just blowing people. And I mean he's scoring a lot in these blowouts anyway, but I feel like as the season goes on, if they start getting more blowouts, obviously you're going to be resting him more and more. As the playoffs, like the real games matter, right? So like because if they play some shitty team like I don't know the Toronto Raptors, they. So I'm so sour with our hometown squad right now. He could score like 25 in the first 3 quarters on 10 of 14 shooting, and then just sit the fourth quarter because they're up by 30 points, right? And that's going to happen a lot. There's a lot of bad teams in the NBA, unfortunately, right now. There's a lot of kind of just shitty subpar teams that he won't need to drop 40 against. So I am going to sell, and I hate to do it because my selling is based on the Celtics being very successful. I am going to sell. So yeah, I'm. So Mike, you said how many knockouts you're predicting at 311? Optimistically?
At least 4.
At least 4. Yeah, at least 4. And this is more. So he has to have 5.
Tatum needs to have more than 4 for it. He needs to have 5.
God, there's so much scoring in the NBA now. I will also sell. For the reasons I mentioned. I just think it's hard for him to get to that plateau with how deep his team is and how much rest he'll probably just be getting in some of these games. But that's a really, really good question. We need more cross sports. I like the cross sports ones. We should encourage that more in the future.
Great question, and you picked the right name.
God, I hate the Celtics.
We'll take a couple. We'll take a couple more of these, and then we'll get to the champ predictions and the bold prediction. Buy or sell PFL books an MMA fight for either Jake Paul or Deontay Wilder in 2025.
It's fun. It's funny. I like the Deontay Wilder possibility more for some reason. Even though Jake obviously
do Deontay, it's not an MMA fight though.
Why not?
It would be like a boxing with MMA gloves fight. It'd be like the mixed rules kind of weird hybrid thing that's not MMA.
Do you think that's more likely than Jake Paul getting an MMA fight?
Yes.
Oh, wait, you're just selling this whole thing. You don't think either guy. You're going to sell for both.
No, I think the Jake Paul signing and promise of an MMA fight is maybe the dumbest promotional thing I've ever heard.
Oh,
because there's just at this point it just doesn't seem like Jake has any. I mean, I literally sat 10 feet from him, and just seems like he has no interest in doing it unless it's Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz ain't fighting for PFL. No matter what they offer him, he's not going to do it. So it would take Jake signing with the UFC somehow. And PFL ain't going to do that unless it's like some sort of blockbuster trade in some regard. And why would the UFC give up anything worth the value to do this? So I'll say no. This is not going to happen. I think Jake eventually does it because he has to, but he's going to milk this for all it's worth before he does because he's not fighting Nate Diaz. And I just don't know what other name would make sense, or if he just goes in and does it. I think at some point he's just going to have to go in and do it. And maybe it's like the same card as Amanda Serrano when she fights for PFL at some point. So yeah, I'm selling the shit out of this.
Yeah, I have to sell. It'd be so fun. It'd be so fun if PFL could make something like this happen. But these kind of things always feel like a long shot. And we talked about the PFL a lot. There's so many other things they need to worry about right now than necessarily putting together these weird bookings. So I want to buy. I don't believe it happens. I can't do it. Yeah, Mike, you're right. Gotta sell.
Yeah.
Not happy about it. I want to buy.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Jake doesn't need to fight Nate or anybody else. Just fight anybody. Like literally fight anybody. An 0-0 pro. Like who gives a shit? Cigar super chat. Buy or sell only men's belt to change in 2025 is the middleweight title.
Only men's belt to change. Wow, man,
We're turning this into a buy. We're turning this into a buy sell question.
I mean, we've got Umar coming up. We've got Sean Strickland DDP rematch. Like I have to only men's belt change.
Maybe Dana White 100% guaranteed Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. I mean, 100%.
I think this has to be a sell. We will see two male fighters lose their belts. Change in 2020. Like if Alex put out a vacate, like does that count as change?
If a new champion is crowned, yeah. If he vacates and then they have a title fight for the vacant belt and someone wins it, that's a change.
Yeah, I'm selling. We're getting at least two new men's champions, or again if Strickland.
We might get two. We might get two in the first card. It's very possible. I'm picking one.
I mean, you
We're
definitely
not surprising if it's both.
So
I have a bet. Straight pick. I'm picking Umar to beat Merab, but I have a bet on Merab. Like you're gonna give me Merab at like nearly plus 300 against anybody, I'm gonna take it. So I have to sell this.
Yeah, easy sell. Thanks, Cigar.
Lazy bit. Buy or sell. Dana White drastically decreases his role as the face of the UFC in 2025, and we're fed a steady diet of Hunter Campbell press conferences. I could not sell this fast enough. I mean, just throw it away. One, because could this happen in 2026? I think we're a year early on this. Because once they sign this TV, Dana's going to have to be a part of the negotiations for the TV deal. He's going to have to be forward-facing. He's going to have to be there when this announcement happens. He's going to have to be the one essentially to make this announcement. So I think we're a year early on this. Once that's done, I think we see a decrease of Dana. Because you could tell he's been not checked out. He's checked back in a little more because of the importance of the time period for this company right now. Like just the massive deal they are about to sign for their distribution is going to be, it's going to be multi-billions, billions, like tens of, I don't even know how much this is going to cost all these different entities. So I will sell this, but if you ask me this next year, I could very well live in a world where we see less Dana. Will we see Hunter being up there as the face? I don't think so. But yeah, I'm selling. Where are you at with this, AK?
Yeah, that's the sell part for me, Mike, is you will see less Dana. So I think you will see less Dana in 2025. But you're not going to be getting Hunter Campbell press conferences. You're getting some sweet Dave Shaw, the man, the most electrifying man in MMA. So there we go, guys. Sorry, no Hunter Campbell for you. A lot of Dave Shaw. So that's my reason for selling. And I know my editor and everyone out there who looks for spicy quotes will be thrilled with that news. Shout out to Dave.
Yes. Speaking of the TV deal, buy or sell, UFC stays with ESPN exclusively with this new TV deal, which will be announced this year.
That's a good. I actually think that's a really good question because I know it just makes so much sense for them to try and obviously diversify their rights and sell. The more buyers you have for the rights to your programs, I mean, the better, right? If you can get that, that's a sweet ass deal. And I'm sure the UFC is exploring all options. But there is this relationship they have with ESPN. There is a convenience to it. There is a branding thing. There is a strength in people knowing where to find your product. Like that's always a good thing. You don't always want people scrambling like, oh, is this fight night? Is this one on Netflix? And then this pay-per-view is on ESPN, but then this next pay-per-view is 2 pay-per-views a year streaming on Netflix or something like that. Like because again, the more money involved, the more creative they'll want to be, right? If the price is right, I'm sure UFC will happily go like, yep, we'll give Netflix. You're offering X hundred millions of dollars for 2 pay-per-views on your platform a year. Done and done. But if there's one thing Dana White and company are good at, it is making the product very, very accessible to fans. So if I'm selling on this, it's because I think they're leaving ESPN like pretty much entirely and focusing on another network. Not that I think they're like
No.
bouncing.
Nope. If you sell this, you're saying ESPN will not be the exclusive.
Yeah, no, I know, but again,
Can still be part of it though.
I know, but I'm saying my version of a sell, I think, involves them like almost primarily being on one platform. Like I said, just for the sake of simplicity to make it easier. That if I sell, that's what I feel like I'm saying. Yeah. So I am going to sell. I am going to sell with the understanding that they're just done with ESPN.
I think I'll sell this too. I think ESPN will still be in play somehow. I think maybe the Apex cards remain. I think Contender Series remains. In AK, I think the Ultimate Fighter remains. But I think everything else goes elsewhere. I would like to maybe the pay-per-views. Who knows? I think Netflix is going to absolutely be a major player in this. I have no insider information, no insight to this at all. But it just seems like with the relationship of TKO, what WWE is doing for them. Like if I'm the UFC, if I'm Netflix and I want the UFC, like I am overpaying them to no end just to have the pay-per-views on Netflix and just run them as is. Because what people don't like really understand about the business model is like people think like the pay-per-view model really matters a ton to the UFC, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. They are getting a whole shitload of money from ESPN just to house their product on their stable of networks. The pay-per-view revenue really helps ESPN more than it does the UFC because ESPN's already paying them a bunch of money in order to produce the program. So, and to house it. So this whole thing of like, well, then they lose out on the pay-per-view revenue. There really isn't a ton for that. Especially with the model now, like, they're not selling million pay-per-view cards anymore. We'll never know the answer to that anyways, but unless Conor McGregor's fighting, they're not selling a million pay-per-views. Like even Jon Jones fighting at 309 didn't do a million, probably didn't even do like 600,000 for them. It's just what the model is right now. So yeah, I think ESPN will still be involved. It'll be sort of at a minor degree, but to a point where Dana, say what you will about the man, and I talked about this on BTL a little bit with Jose, Dana is loyal to the people who are loyal to him. And ESPN has always stood by the UFC. They have always stood by Dana. When Dana wanted to keep moving and all of sports shut down, ESPN's like, yeah, dude, we'll go. Maybe we ain't going to Tachi Palace just yet, but we're going to go somewhere and we'll stick by you. And Dana usually will reciprocate the loyalty. So I do think ESPN remains somewhat involved, but there will not be the exclusive TV rights deal, if you will. All right, we'll do two more of these. Sleeto, buy or sell. Jed manages to complete the climb in 2025.
I mean, I want to be, Prince of Positivity here and just go buy to support my boy, but it is just mathematically, it's a really tough thing to do. But I will say, the logic behind the climb is so sound. Do we need to tell people what the climb is? Maybe Mike, who don't, very quickly. I think I guess explain to people who don't necessarily watch every episode of No Bets Barred or.
So essentially, the climb is it's like $100 bet that just continues to carry over. So like you bet $100. I believe it's is it 3-1 or 5-1 underdog?
It's at least
5-1 favorite.
The key is to pick one like massive favorite every card. To get a win, and then roll that money over into the next week for how many steps?
30 times.
30 steps. Yeah. So he wants to get 30 correct heavy favorite bets in a row using, like you said, starting with this $100. I can't remember how far he's gone. I don't think he's reached double-digit steps before. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what version of the climb he's on right now. At least the fourth. I think at least the fourth version of the climb. Will he complete this in 2025? Boy, it's so hard. MMA is just sports in general is so unpredictable. MMA, even at the UFC level, when you see some supposedly like, minus 600, minus 700 favorites, gosh, there's just so much weird stuff that can happen. I'm buying it. Jed, you're going to do it. You are going to complete the climb sometime in 2025. It might take a while. You might fall again a couple of times in the first 3 or 4 months of the year. But I think by like climb attempt like number 8, climb attempt number 8, I think that's the one. That's the one that's going to hit. So you know what? I'm buying.
Now I'm an absolute dickhead if I don't say yes to this.
You could say whatever you want.
I can't be the negative Nancy.
Mike, you can't lie to the people. You got to be honest. You got to be honest with the people.
Yeah, but I also like to put over good juju. But I can't be the guy. I'll say I will buy this, but here's why I'll buy this. Jed will eventually realize that he can't do this on his own. He's going to have to tap in some friends for some advice to help guide him down the right path. Because let me be honest with you, folks. There have been certain climb bets that Jed has made that I knew as soon as I heard them on No Bets Barred, they weren't going to cash. I knew immediately. I'm like, this is what we're doing? This is the climb bet? And then Grant Dawson would just pummel a man and finish him early and ruin the climb. So I think he's eventually going to come to his friends and be like, yo, should I do this? Is this the right play? And maybe we will help guide him in the right direction as to the correct play to make. And then when he does that, he will complete the climb, and then he will put us over. And we're not going to ask for a cent, not a cent. You know, just next time we play golf, you bring an iced coffee for your friend, and that's it. So
I shouldn't ask for anything because I'm pretty sure I screwed him on the Malik and Rug pick. I think that week there was like no great bet on the UFC card that week, and I said, one championship on Friday, Rug and Malikan. I mean, I didn't screw him. The judges screwed him. And Rug being amazing screwed him. But yeah, so maybe your help, Mike, maybe Damon. I don't know. Maybe he's got some hot betting tips, but I don't know if I want to be involved in this.
All right,
and our last buy sell.
Last one. Buy or sell out of Pereira, Islam, and Pantoja, all with 3 defenses right now. One of them will end the year with 5 total title defenses. So what do you think,
That's
AK?
That's
Either
good.
Pereira, Makhachev, or Pantoja will end the year with
Just
5 total title defenses.
I think if people have been listening to the show, I don't want to answer for you. Well, so obviously you're not picking Islam.
No.
I don't think you're picking Pereira. It sounds like you think he's going to go up to heavyweight. Pantoja. Again, and I Islam is also in play for me because I don't know about the Arman fight yet. I have to look deeper into it. Pantoja, Islam. One of them will end the year with 5 total defenses, plus add in inactivity and things like that.
I'll buy. I'll just jump in and buy because I think Pants will get there. I think Pantoja will defend the title twice.
I'll sell. I think Pantoja will get 2 title defenses booked. I think somewhere in there he's going to slip on the banana peel, just because it's so hard to do it. Not because he's falling off. I don't think he's falling off at all. I just think like every time you go in there, you're rolling the dice. I don't care how good you are. And I think flyweight again. I think the top of flyweight is so strong. He's going to run to the. It might be important. It might be against a guy he's already beaten before. I don't know. Like he may just have to face like Brandon Royval again. It's like, I couldn't beat Brandon Royval 3 times. What do you want from me? Like I've beaten him twice already. I'll sell. It's hard to get 5 title defenses is hard. I think who's gotten up there like Usman, like recently. I mean, in recent years, Valentina. I think Valentina definitely racked up 5. It's hard. Is he racked up 5? He did.
Did he?
He did.
He had to.
I don't know. Right? Had to. Either way, it's very difficult. This isn't like back in the day when we had GSP going a crazy run, Anderson Silva, stuff like that. It's trying to think.
Yeah, he got to. Izzy got to 6. Izzy got to 6 before he lost to Pereira.
Nice. Okay, but I'm going to sell in this case. It's hard to do it. Too many weird opportunities to like change weight classes, things like that. Islam, I just don't know I just don't know how many times he's going to fight. So I will go with 5. I'll go with sell. But this is a really well worded and well structured question.
Well done. All right, thank you everybody. Now let's go to the champ predictions, AK.
Yes.
Let's get right into it. We will start off with the strawweight division, AK. Of course, this is going to be a very interesting division for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. We already have a title fight booked for this one. Zhang Wei Li will defend the strawweight title against the undefeated Tatiana Suarez at UFC 312 in February. Currently, the champion is Zhang Weili, AK, as we laid out. Will it remain that way in your eyes? Is it going to be Zhang Weili or is it going to be somebody else?
It's certainly Twill. It's certainly Twill. I think Zhang is great. I think she's just one of the most well-rounded, best fighters in the world. I like Tatiana a lot. I actually think this is a really good matchup for Zhang. Over 5 rounds, I just think Zhang is a little more versatile. I think the striking is going to be a huge difference. Like I don't think Tatiana can just ragdoll Zhang for 5 rounds, and that's bad. So picking Zhang to retain there. And did she even? She did. She fought Jan in 2024, right? That was it. One title defense, 2024.
Yeah, the 1-8-300.
Hopefully, we see more of Zhang this year. But even if we do, again, I don't know who will be next up at strawweight. Virna, maybe Virna gets her shot. I still like Zhang in that matchup. And if Zhang goes up, I don't think she's necessarily going to vacate the belt right away. We're talking about the second half of the year. So yeah, she'll be the 115-pound champion come December.
I am with you, my best friend. I am also with Zhang Weili.
You know,
I just think she's so good, and it's hard to. Virna's good too. I don't know, man. It's hard to hinge hope on Tatiana Suarez just getting to the fights. Like I hope she fights a lot. I hope she fights 3 times. But yeah, I mean, Zhang's. I think she's the best fighter in the world. Best women's fighter in the world. So we'll see. Maybe Zhang does go up to 125. But who does she fight at 125, AK? The women's flyweight division. I'm going with Valentina Shevchenko to remain the women's flyweight champion at the end of the year. You would assume she's going to fight Manon Fiorot sometime this year, and then it's just kind of a matter of who she fights next, whether it be Zhang Weili or somebody else from this division. But Valentina's not the most active fighter on planet Earth. We might get 1, maybe 2 fights out of her, and if she fights Manon, I would pick her to beat Manon. So that's what I'm going to do. Valentina Shevchenko, AK.
Mike, I am so disappointed. You no faith in your girl Natty Ice to get that shot this year and shock the world.
It's because AK. Everyone knows how I feel about Natty Ice.
Of course,
we're a year too soon. We're a year too early. I don't think Valentina is going to be active enough for Natty Ice to come wipe that title away from her. But boy, oh boy, 2026, it's going to be good old Natalia Ice wearing UFC gold.
I'm going with Natalia Silva. I think she's gonna be one of the big shocks this year.
All right, I love it. Listen, it would be what a moment it would be. Let's go to your favorite division in all of sports, AK, the women's bantamweight division. Last year, we both very confidently selected a woman who did not win the belt, and now is beginning 2025, not even in this division. We both went with Mayra Bueno Silva. We put her over like she was the greatest fighter of all time. That did not work out very well for us. But now Juliana Pena enters 2025 as the women's bantamweight champion. Raquel Pennington won the belt a year ago. She defended against Juliana Pena. Very controversial decision. I still think Pennington should have the belt. But AK, you said earlier, this is the year of Kayla Harrison. Are you telling us all that Kayla Harrison will end 2025 as the women's bantamweight champion?
Firstly, that Mayra Bueno Silva pick of ours was like, that's an all-time doo-doo pick. That was just so short-sighted. That was literally just looking ahead at the calendar and like, literally her and Raquel are fighting in January. Okay, whoever wins this fight is going to be the champion by the end of the year. And we just, we picked Mayra, Raquel won, and then Raquel wasn't even the champion at the end of the year. Yeah, it's Kayla. I'm not getting cute with it. I know there's all kinds of stuff that could come out of left field. I get it. It's women's 135. It's not the deepest division, but I think she fulfills her destiny, to be cliche about it, and wins it. Sneaks in a defense in there somewhere, and just has a great year. And then 2026 is when we'll start. I don't know, maybe seeing some more Amanda Nunes talk. I know there'll be a lot of talk about this year, obviously, but I think that doesn't happen this year. I think it's just Kayla gets to shine.
Perhaps she does get the shine, AK, but you mentioned her name, and I've been teasing this the whole time. The women's bantamweight champion at the end of 2025 will be the returning Lioness, Amanda Nunes. She comes back, and she beats whoever is the champion, whether it's Kayla Harrison, whether it's Juliana Pena. She going to come back, and she's going to win that belt, and then she's going to leave again because she did the thing. And then we could just do another vacant title fight to start 2026, just to go round and round with all this. But yeah, I'm actually Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison is actually become like one of the more interesting fights for me in 2025. It really, I'm very curious to see how that plays out, especially after seeing the Ketlin Vieira fight against Kayla Harrison, which I kind of expected it to go that way, but I don't know. I think it's an interesting matchup, especially 5 rounds. She's got to cut that extra pound. And I know people don't really like Juliana Pena, and I get that, but Juliana Pena is going to be in that woman's face for 25 minutes. And let's just see if she can hang and deal with all of that. So, but Amanda Nunes coming back again, contract year, TV deal coming up. They're going to pull out all the stops to try to get as much money as they possibly can. So let's go to the flyweight division. The men's flyweight division, I already sort of teased it. I'm going with Alexandra Pantoja, AK, to end the year as the 125-pound champion.
I said he doesn't make it to 5, and I think the banana peel that he's going to slip on will come in the form of one Mr. Asu Almabayev. Almabayev. Does he fit our rankings thing too? Like, that was fighter of the year. That's fighter of the year. I don't think he'll be fighter of the year. But where is he now? I just want to see where is he ranked. Almabayev is currently 8th in the flyweight division, and I am predicting him to get a win. Obviously, a cop should get the fight against Pantoja first, but Almabayev, I just think he has everything it takes to be a champion. I think he's that damn good. So let's see him get a signature win, and then the pieces will fall where they may. With again, depending if Pantoja has to do another rematch, if he gets past Cop, or if they're looking for another fresh challenger, it is Asu Almabayev, and I think he'll be probably like a 3-1, 4-1 underdog. But guess what? That'll be an upset for you. I'm picking it. Fresh blood.
Almabayev,
fresh blood. Let's go.
To fight. Asu Almabayev about to fight a very dangerous man. A Vinny Siggs on a 2-fight losing streak. That's gonna be tough, man.
That's a perfect you get that win. That's putting you in that title track.
I think March 1st that fight's happening. I don't remember where I saw that report, but apparently it is a thing. Let's go to the bantamweight division, AK. Currently, the men's bantamweight champion is Merab Dvalishvili. He is about to defend that title against the undefeated Umar Nurmagomedov in 13 days from right now at UFC 311. What a friggin' card that is going to be. Will one of those two men, AK, end the year as the UFC bantamweight champion?
Yeah, Umar. Yeah, it's gonna be Umar. And let me tell you, I'll give you a little spoiler. Here's my 2020. Here's my pick for who's gonna be champion at the end of 2026. His name is Umar Nurmagomedov. Assuming this guy doesn't futz around too much with, again, the 2 double champion, blah, blah, going up to featherweight, whatever. I think this guy's holding on to the bantamweight belt as long as he wants. Umar is that good. I really believe Umar is that good. And bantamweight is so deep and it moves so quickly. I mean, by July, I could be eating my words. Not that he's necessarily lost the title by then, but like I could be going like, oh, this guy's gonna be the next guy, or this guy's gonna be the next guy, because there's so much talent in that division. But I would love to see Umar hang around there for at least 3 or 4 title fights if he beats Merab, because I just think he has the potential to be truly, truly, truly great.
I get the pick, AK. I totally get it. But as you know, AK, we've been doing this show for, I think this is the 4th time, maybe the 5th that we've done it. There's always a pick that your friend Mike Heck just pulls out of left field, like way out of left field. Like, how could we possibly get there? No one else is going to pick this, but I'm going to. Remember, this is the man who days before he stepped into the cage with Max Holloway in Abu Dhabi said that Calvin Kattar was going to be the UFC featherweight champion of the world at the end of 20, whatever year it was. And boy, was that pick over and done with very, very quickly after Max Holloway landed a record amount of strikes to this man. I'm with you, AK. I believe Umar Nurmagomedov is going to leave La La Land as the men's bantamweight champion. I think he's going to do the thing. He's going to go in there. He's going to beat Merab, and he's going to win the belt. But he's not going to end the year as champion, AK, because this year, the men's bantamweight division, the theme of 135 pounds in the UFC is y'all must have forgot. Y'all must have forgot about this man. Now, I know 2024 was a year where he got back on your radars a little bit. You started to see those flashes of brilliance that y'all fell in love with, that made you so confident in him as a fighter, as one of the best fighters in the world, as a guy who may have ended his career as the greatest bantamweight in UFC history, surpassing the Dominic Cruzes, surpassing the Aljamain Sterlings of the world. But I'm here to tell you that at the end of 2025, we're going to be reinvigorating those conversations, because the men's bantamweight champion, after pulling off a gigantic upset in the fourth quarter of 2025, is going to be none other than the former bantamweight champion, No Mercy himself, Petr Yan, will be the bantamweight champion at the end of 2025, AK. He's going to do it. He's going to do it.
Incredible journey we've just been on. Petr Yan is great, man. It is great. That was it? It's like a 3-fight losing streak. It's so weird. It's so weird. And we all, like, I remember doing, I can't remember which post-fight show is on. I was on at least one of those post-fight shows, or at least some show after, maybe just on to the next one, talking about his results. And every time we were recapping his fights, like, we were never saying he's done. We were never saying, like, oh, well, Petr, he's cooked. Like, he doesn't have it anymore. We're like, if this had gone differently, or this matchup just isn't, it wasn't meant for him, like the Merab fight. We're like, okay, Merab's just a better fighter, but that doesn't mean Petr's done. He has all the tools to be champion again. And he, I think we always tell people, like, he's younger than people think, like a lot of combat sports mileage, but he's only like 31 or 32. And sure, at bantamweight, once you go past 30, like, it's a speedy division. It's one of those divisions. It's not like a light heavyweight where you like can actually be a dominant fighter into your late 30s, though some fighters are still very good there. But yeah, he's young, just strictly age wise. So, Mike, I love it. I can't go with you on this journey. I'm glad you let us like kind of tag along for a bit. It's a great pick.
Thank you. Because if Merab beats Umar, Yan ain't getting his shot. Merab's going to keep calling for it, but the UFC is not going to be interested. Like that fight was not that long ago. And I know it's not the same guy. I know he had a bad night, but I don't know if the UFC books that one anytime soon. So let's go to featherweight. Ilia Topuria, the champion, heading into 2025. Despite all the talk about moving to 155 and all that, I believe Ilia Topuria will leave 2025 still champion, and perhaps the number one pound for pound fighter in MMA fighting's global rankings. It's very possible. That's how highly I regard this man.
Ilia, don't be scared, homie. Give Movsar's title shot. Gives Movsar. I don't care if people think Movsar is not necessarily the most exciting guy, though he has had some very exciting fights. But if they look at the overall body of work and they're just like, whatever, it's nothing. Movsar doesn't excite me. Well, I'm sorry, man. The guy's undefeated. He's beating some really good fighters. The fight with Aljamain was competitive, don't get me wrong, and that's because Aljamain I still think is great. Aljamain is an elite 135er. Winning a close decision over him is nothing to be ashamed of. And I really think he has the wrestling to grind out a win over Ilia and to become champion. I think this guy is that good. So part of it, of course, is me just not wanting to go with the obvious pick. I fully admit it. I'm going to go with Movsar. There's also the possibility Ilia moves up, but he wouldn't vacate the title right away. Anyway, I don't need to equivocate it anymore. Let's just go with Movsar as my 145 guy.
That was my pick last year. This happened before the weird Dana White saying Movsar was in the most boring fight he's ever seen, which kind of ruined him. I still don't believe Dana White knows who Movsar Evloev is.
No.
Or knew that he fought Arnold Allen. He definitely had that confused with another fight. There's just no doubt in my mind about that. But let's move on. Lightweight. I mean, I don't.
Who are you picking here, Mike? Mike, who are you picking here?
Michael Johnson, obviously. No, it's Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan will be the lightweight champion. The chips are in the middle. I don't need to say much more. Just go back to 2024. I've said everything. I think he's going to beat Islam Makhachev. I think he's going to beat him twice in 2025, which to me, winning and then defending the toughest title in all of sports and then doing it against the current pound for pound number one, 2 wins is enough to get him fighter of the year. So give me Arman Tsarukyan. AK, I assume you're going with Mr. Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, sticking with Islam, but it's man, what a great pair of events we have to start off the year, because the UFC is hitting the ground running. I mean, this is the definition of hitting the ground running. We are going to get our storylines right away, like what to watch with these first 4 title fights. Because if Tatiana wins, I don't know, what does that mean for Zhang's future at 115? Do they just run that back? If Umar wins, again, is he a guy who's going to become a dominant champion, or is he going to start talking about changing weight classes? You could say the same for Merab. If Merab beats Umar, Like you said, does he keep calling for Petr Yan fight, or does he start talking about champ stuff? Because again, it would only be his first title defense, but how many straight wins does he have now at 135, right? Of course, Islam and Arman could determine the fighter of the year, depending on who wins that one. And then you have the DDP and Strickland rematch. And if DDP wins, sets up something with Khamzat. If Strickland wins, also probably sets up something with Khamzat. But again, maybe you have to run it back. Maybe you do the trilogy bout. So much intrigue coming out of these first four title fights. It's really exciting stuff.
All right, just for the sake of time, AK.
Yeah.
Unless there's a journey you want to take us on,
I do.
Let's run down the last four. So we got welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight.
Yep.
Who you got?
I'm going Shavkat at welterweight.
Me too.
Fight has not been booked yet, but I think we all know that's going to happen. Him and Bilal. I'm going my boy Khamzat at middleweight. I'm going Magomed Ankalaev at light heavyweight. I think I picked this last year, and again, I'm not wrong, just early. Heavyweight, Mike. I'm going with the boy Jon Jones. I may not like the guy. I may be angry that he won't fight Tom Aspinall, but I think people need to understand, and this is what I think confuses some people, is like, when we call for Jon Jones to fight Tom Aspinall, it's not because we're like, oh, Tom Aspinall's so good and he's going to destroy Jon and Jon needs to drop the belt to him. No, it's because the fight, we think on paper, the fight is so intriguing and we think it's as close to a 50-50 fight as Jon has ever had in his career. That's why we like it. But to me, Jon Jones is, until proven otherwise, not necessarily number one on the pound for pound list, because for me that includes activity. But as far as like take the best version of him and put him in there with the best version of any fighter right now, he is the best fighter in the world. Jon Jones just does not lose fights unless your name is Dominic Reyes. But again, even on that off night, somehow he did enough to earn a decision. So for me, that's the definition of great champions, right? It's you win, you dominate people. You also win when you have difficult matchups, not necessarily at your best. I will pick him to beat Tom Aspinall. Part of me as a fan will probably be rooting for Tom Aspinall just because he's had to jump through all these hoops, just because I find Jon Jones trying to dismiss him so friggin' irritating. But if I were a betting man, if you gave me $25 and I have to bet it, I'm betting it on Jon Jones, and he's not going to fight that often. So also this kind of goes with maybe my bold prediction, Mike. So I will go Jon Jones as my heavyweight pick by the end of 2025.
I'm with you at 3 out of 4. Shavkat, Khamzat, Jon Jones as well, and Alex Pereira, light heavyweight champion. I do think Pereira. I stand by it. I do think Pereira is going to go up to heavyweight. Either the UFC is going to give Jon everything he wants, like fight Pereira, and then you have to fight Aspinall, or they're going to do, all right, man, we'll send Pereira up to fight Aspinall, and then you have to fight the winner. So we're going to put both options on the table for you. And then whoever wins, that's who you fight. So if Pereira somehow boops Aspinall, then you get your Pereira fight. But if he gets tackled and destroyed, then you got to fight Tom Aspinall. I know Joe Rogan is trending right now as we record this, saying that, quote, they're trying to come to an agreement on Jones Aspinall. The rumors Jones wants $30 million and the UFC is going to pay. I don't think that number is $30 million. I think it's higher than that, would be my guess. And it should be. Again, none of us have said that what Jon is doing is wrong. It's just what he has done the way he's gone about it has been awful. The whole, well, he doesn't deserve to fight me thing is dumb. Just say it like it is. This is a dangerous fight. I will make more money with less risk to fight Alex Pereira. I want the most amount of money possible to fight this young whippersnapper that nobody knows, really. Like, that at least the casual fan base is not fully aware of yet. Say that and no one has a problem with it. But I'm with you, AK. I don't think this fight is like Tom Aspinall goes in there and just destroys Jon Jones. I just don't think that's the case at all. And as I talked about on BTL, when we do a watch party for whenever that fight does happen, I'm just going to bet the underdog. And something tells me that Jon Jones will be the underdog. And if I have to put my money on Jon Jones as an underdog, there are way worse bets to have. So, yeah, I do think this fight does end up happening. And I'll go with Jon Jones. Why the hell not? There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It might not feel good to say, again, based on his completely annoying personality and personal life. But best fighter in the world. And we want to see it. We want to see the guy who's the undisputed UFC champion face the interim heavyweight champion. It doesn't feel like a big ask. It doesn't feel like a big ask,
Yeah.
and yet we're taking so long to get there. But I'm very optimistic it'll happen.
And I think Pereira does fight, does defend his belt once, maybe against Magomed Ankalaev, maybe not. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If the UFC books Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev, if this fight happens in March, I am here to tell you right now, I'm picking Alex Pereira in that fight.
Oh, nice.
Picking Alex Pereira. I think I actually think it's a pretty damn good matchup for him. So, all right. Those are the champ predictions. And now let us close the show by getting bold, AK. It is time for our Muy Caliente bold prediction for 2025. What's going to happen? What will be weird? What will be wacky? What are we predicting will happen that 99.9% won't happen? But if it does, we look like absolute geniuses. No insight, no nothing. We're just going with the old gut here. AK, do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
Jon Jones beats Tom Aspinall, holds on to the heavyweight title. We get all the retirement talk. We get all the, he's going to fight Alex Pereira next talk. Again, the Pereira situation might be its own thing because if Pereira loses to Ankalaev, I mean, does that just make it easier for him to move to heavyweight? Or does he stick around, try and get a rematch, take some more, look for some more boops at 205? I don't know. But either way, the Jon Jones will have options, is what I'm saying. He can walk away. He's done it all. If he beats Aspinall, I mean, my goodness, all the talk, all the legacy talk, it'll be at a new level, and rightfully so. If he pulls that off, because I think Aspinall is the best heavyweight right now. He'll be looking for a new challenge going into 2026. The UFC will by then have landed a new TV deal, but I think we'll be still looking to deliver big moments, big. Social media drawing bookings, fights, matchups. We've talked about another organization which needs to get their shit in order. And I think they'll have a fine year with this gentleman. And we kind of talked earlier about how many fights is this guy going to have in the PFL? How many opportunities are there for him? You can always go home again, Mike. That's what I like to say, especially when depending how much money is involved. And I know that the relationship between one Mr. Francis Ngannou and the UFC is very, very sour and very, very poor. Many comments have been slung from Dana White in Francis' direction. Francis has pretty much just defended himself. He's also talked some shit about the company, which is whatever. You expect this kind of public mudslinging in these things, but you can always go home again. Francis will fight once in PFL. I don't know. Maybe we get Goltsov Mania. Like I said, he'll probably book a boxing match too. If the boxing doesn't go his way, he may have to consider focusing on MMA again. He may have to consider the big, big, big fight that we've always wanted to see. I think it won't happen in 25, but I think by the end of 2025, Francis Ngannou will part ways with the PFL, return to the UFC, and they will announce he will fight Jon Jones in the first quarter of 2026. So Francis comes home. He'll have his work with PFL Africa. Hopefully by then he'll have already sort of established it as something, so they don't need him around to necessarily take care of it. Just to have made it happen is an achievement in itself. But Dana White or someone at ESPN or Netflix or whichever platform they're working with at that point will sign a check and say, give us this fight. Give us one of the most anticipated fights in MMA history. Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou for the UFC title. The title that Francis Ngannou never lost in the cage in 2026.
Wow. So you're saying
this year, announcement that he will re-sign. Francis Ngannou will have re-signed with the UFC by the end of this year.
Oh, okay.
Re-signed. Yes.
All right.
He will be back
That
in
was
the
my
UFC
follow-up.
roster. Yes. So that is what makes it 2025 prediction. By the end of this year, done with the PFL, back in the UFC, and officially it will be announced that that fight will happen, or at least is in the works or targeted or whatever for the first quarter of 2026.
That is bold. So your bold prediction was that a big name in the sport comes home, adds to the UFC roster.
Mm-hmm.
My bold prediction is that one of the big names leaves the organization and doesn't go anywhere else. Just says, I'm done. No more. I'm going to do other things. I'm just kind of done with all this. I'm going to say this. We laid out somewhat of a roadmap for Petr Yan to become, once again, the bantamweight champion of the world. but he's going to have to do something on the road to getting to the belt because he's just not going to walk into a title shot right now. He's going to have to get another win, maybe 2. And I think Petr Yan is going to go and get that win. And then it's going to set him up for a big fight with the guy that a lot of people thought he beat, but then he lost a kind of a controversial decision to this man who went on to become the UFC bantamweight champion of the world. And I think we are going to get the rematch between Petr Yan and Sean O'Malley. This time, there will be no judges' controversy. There will be nothing weird. Petr Yan will have his shining moment, and he's going to knock out Sean O'Malley and walk into a title fight. As Petr Yan walks into a title fight, Sean O'Malley is going to drop his gloves in the middle of the octagon and say, "No mas, I am done. I don't need to fight anymore. I can make money in other ways. I can partner up with Jake Paul for new products. I can be a Twitch streamer. I have a pretty good YouTube channel. Me and the Nelk boys are pretty tight." I just don't think Sean O'Malley's heart is in the fight game anymore. At least not where it needs to be in order for him to become the guy he wants to be as a professional fighter. So again, no insight to this whatsoever. This is a full gut, like close your eyes. What's the first thing that pops into your mind? First thing that popped in my mind for some weird reason, and I'm trying to justify this pick to all of you, and I'm doing a terrible job at this. This will be Sean O'Malley's final year as a professional mixed martial artist. He will retire from MMA and from the UFC sometime this year. That's my pick. That's my bold prediction, AK.
That is bold. That is we both went pretty big. I mean, this is as bold as you can get. Sean is only 30 years old. Just turned 30 not long ago. It's not like he's been in the game for what, maybe a decade? A little less than a decade. I could
now,
see
just to lay this out, because I'm sure there's people in the chat like, "Oh, you guys are fucking stupid." These are not meant to happen. Like, if this happens, then this is just wild and insane. Yeah. Any of these things happening. Okay. These are not meant to come true. These are why they're called bold predictions. 99.9%. This is not possible. This won't happen. But if by some chance, the 0.01% that these things happen, then we're insane. Like, we're just insane geniuses. That's how this is supposed to work. So just to lay that out there, we are not predicting reality. We're predicting something weird and outrageous and out of left field.
Yeah, has to be out there.
So
yeah, has to be out there. But that'd be wild if either of those things happen. That is for sure. I think we nailed the bold part.
Yeah, Francis re-signing with the UFC to fight John. That's the bold thing for me.
Money talks. I don't know. There's anything I know is, man, we cannot predict anything that's going to happen in this crazy, especially the last few years. We didn't even talk about the friggin' this McGregor, and we did a whole podcast about it, Mike. But the Mbani thing, he's really pushing that this Mbani boxing match is going to happen with Logan Paul, and it was like, I don't know, man. I don't think it'll happen, but we didn't do it. Neither of us did a bold prediction for the GFL, which was surprising. I mean, I thought one of us was going to make some GFL thing, but I don't know.
Nah, they ain't worth. They're just not worth. They're not worth it right now. Have an event first, and then, if you have two events, we can answer the GFL questions, but we don't know what they are yet. I have more questions than answers. So, thank you guys very much. Appreciate this. This is the second live show of 2025 here on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel. More to come. Of course, we have a UFC event coming up this Saturday. UFC Vegas 101, headlined by the rematch between Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Hebos. That's going down at the world's most famous Apex. The go-home show for the UFC's first pay-per-view of 2025. And what a pay-per-view it is. UFC 311. One of the best fight cards the UFC has given us in several months. This is just an outstanding start to the year. Much better than the January pay-per-view in 2024. This is outstanding stuff with Arman Tsarukyan about to get his crowning moment as lightweight champion against Islam Makhachev, and Merab against Umar, and Yuri versus Jamal Hill, and so many just really compelling matchups on that card. And it's going to be a great year for the sport. It's going to be a very interesting year for the UFC with the TV deal and everything that's going on there. to what's the GFL going to do? What's PFL going to look like? Can BKFC continue to make strong moves? What's Gamebred going to do? What's Mike Perry's Dirty Boxing going to do? This is just going to be a very intriguing year in the combat sports world, and we will be here the entire way with all of you. So stick with us at MMAfighting.com throughout 2025. Casey, you could hit the music. We are out of here. Shout out to Casey Leydon, the man on the ones and twos, sticking with us fresh off of his trip to Japan and covering the Rising card. Matchmaking back next week on the podcast network. For AK, I am Mike Heck. Always remember the golden rule. Don't take this stuff too seriously. MMA is supposed to be fun, and we will have more fun throughout 2025 right here. On to the next one, the podcast. Good night, everybody.